What's the most up thing you've done for money? I went to gym class in my underwear. I almost made it through without getting caught by the teacher. Got $30. Sold Bitcoin at $1,000 a. When I was back in school, I had a good friend who was getting bullied quite badly. He was scared to stand up to the guy bullying him as he was quite small. He paid me the holy sum of a Mars bar to hit his bully round the back of the head with a fire extinguisher. Cue an unconscious 12-year-old and me getting a rather long suspension from school and interviewed by the police. I was such a douchebag back then. Surgically implanting a neodymium magnet in someone's finger so they could sense magnetic fields. I did a stint on a FPSO. FPSO equals floating, production, storage and offloading. Basically a big ass boat that they use for oil production, except it stores the oil on board. Anyways, the ship was so crowded for commissioning that every morning and evening I got to ride this glorified birdcage into a smaller boat that I called the Vomit Comet, because the motion was nasty and was pretty puke-filled. My favorite part, besides the questionable food, was the prison-like atmosphere. Like once the weather was really bad, so we sailed to a small international port which was also a UN refugee holding center, and we walked around the parking lots for like 3 hours and were super happy. Oh, and the bloody rags all over the hallway. Good times. Back in the day, I had this friend. He was about 17 to 18 at the time. This friend was big into those freeiPod.com and freeXbox.com style sites from the early 2000s where you had to get people to sign up for free trial offers using a CC. And if you got enough friends, you would get a free iPod, or Xbox, or TV, or computer. He was skeptical that it would work, so he tested by finding 5 real adults he knew to give it a try, and what do you know? He actually got his free iPod. But these sites were wise, and you often couldn't sign up for the same free trials repeatedly using the same person even with different CCs. And only a few offers were genuinely free or risk-free. So this friend needed to find another group of people willing to complete free trial offers. About this same time, Yahoo chat rooms were still a thing, as were Yahoo chat custom rooms. Obviously, that led to some pretty vile stuff, daddies for daughters and similar, with people looking for underage girls or boys to cyber with, trade pics with, or even meet. This friend realized that most of these pervs were older, meaning they had CCs. Dumb and horny. It wouldn't take much in the way of promising anything to get them to sign up for free trials. So this friend made a screen name something like Lil_Cabreras_girl and posed as a 12 to 14-year-old girl in these chats. When dozens of men would immediately message my friend. My friend, in his best impersonation of a tween girl, would chat and weed out the ones who didn't seem serious, and focus on the ones who were persistent. He would chat with them for a bit, 5-10 minutes, and then ask them to do him a favor. That favor, of course, was signing up for a free trial because I need a new iPod. It worked. This friend ended up with a free iPod, free Xbox, free desktop PC, and free PC monitor. He then sold most of them for cash. Side note, one of the guys he talked with was so persistent about meeting his fake 13-year-old persona, he reported that guy, who provided his name, address, phone, pics, to the FBI, who came and took a statement from my friend because the person was a known offender. Was a stripper, had a regular client pay me to drink then have me ask him for permission to piss. I have overactive bladder syndrome, so this often resulted in me pissing myself. He always tipped more and paid for a new outfit for me. WHEB that happened. I sold an item from EverQuest bone clasped girdle, IIRC, from Dracolish in Plane of Fear. I really wanted to keep the item, but I also really wanted $450 to be able to cover my rent. EverQuest caused my divorce and then helped fund it. Sold everything off my main for over $8,000. Should have been a better husband. I sold a picture of my girlfriend's feet for $130 to one of her ex-coworkers. I asked her first, of course, but it still felt questionable. I let my brother run over my foot for a can of ravioli. Barely made rent and HADNT eaten in 3 days. Was a rough post-breakup year for me. Found an ad on Craigslist for some guy that was willing to pay someone to lock him in a cage and pee on him. $50 later I had enough cheap noodles and sriracha to not go hungry for a while. I used to know a couple who ran an adult baby nursery. IF was paid £25 an hour to dress up in cute, frilly outfits and spend time with adult men who wanted to be treated like babies. At one point I spent an hour watching Thunderbirds episodes with a client. That was all he wanted to do. I personally don't consider it up, but I'm sure some people reading this won't know how to feel about it. Whipped my tit out and electrocuted my nipple on an electric fence for $50. A friend of mine who is now a Marine wanted to punch me in the face as hard as he could. So of course I said no, but then we agreed on the stomach for $30. It stung like a bitch, but not enough to stop him from doing it again for another 10. Careful, that's how Houdini died. Steal porno mags from the corner store by my house and then sell them to horny kids at my middle school. This was around 1998-1999, before everyone had smartphones and high-speed internet. Honestly, it wasn't really that bad. Call me boring, but the most I made was $100 when someone in high school paid me to write their final paper. It wasn't even a hard paper to do. I guess she was just lazy. Anyway, I made her pay me half up front and half after she got a passing grade. Anyway, word got around and I ended up being paid to do small things like finish people's homework or write papers. Someone even paid me $50 to change the answers on his test to get at least AC but no more than a B. I used to help one of our teachers grade papers and tests. They were actually pretty secretive about it, and I'm glad no adults found out because I would have been in a lot of trouble. I stuck my tongue to a pole in the middle of a northern Minnesotan winter for $5 that was never paid. I was paid $3 to eat a lemon-scented wet nap. It was in high school, and I'm not proud. Also, I quickly discovered that lemon-scented did not translate to lemon-flavored. You like that? Lemon whore. I was a waiter at a restaurant with a prep line that had mayo on it. There was only one dish that used mayo that no one ordered, so this mayo would sit out all day and get this foul yellow skin. I bet a buddy $100 to eat the skin right before the shift started. I spooned off the whole bucket myself and it was a heaping scoop. He powered through it, but not long after he was absolutely green. We are still friends. I spent 5 years in China teaching ESL. In addition to the school I worked for, I took private students as well. One was a successful but bored plastic surgeon. 90% of his business was the same 3 surgeries. So he wanted to learn English to break up the tedium. He would call me at random times with little or no notice and ask if I wanted to come over and give him a lesson. So one night he called me to come to his office. Very normal. But when I got there, the nurse was giving me booties and a hairnet and telling me to scrub my hands. Before I knew it, I was in the operating room giving him an English lesson while he performed a nose job. I shit you not. I barely made it through. The surgery channel makes me lightheaded, and I was catching the live show. Pretty much scarred for life now. Elementary school. Licked the janitor's mop for $2.35. Thanks for the silver. And no, it's not a euphemism. It did, because that's how much 2 slices of pizza cost in the cafetorium. Answered a Craigslist ad to kick a guy in the balls and walk on him for $160. Liked the easy gig and the money. Made about $10,000 doing that afterwards and went to Europe for 2 months. Let a crawdad pinch my nipple. Was far stronger than I thought and ended up drawing blood. I essentially had my nipple pierced for $1. Lol. $1. You still Was at family dinner and my uncle complained that my aunt burnt the green beans. As a joke, he said he would pay anyone $50 to eat the whole bowl. He did not expect me to take him on the offer. This was a dinner bowl meant for like 14 people. So that night I didn't eat an actual dinner, just an obscene amount of green beans. Surprised I didn't barf, and I had interesting weird shits for the next 2 days. Once I sold my own blood to a local blood bank to buy gas to drive 2 hours to see my ex-girlfriend and win her back, who then cancelled. Bet that would have made your blood boil if you still had it. I once was bored in my mid-20s around 3 a.m. and I saw a gig on Craigslist. Turned out an escort needed a safe driver to get her to gigs. Not thinking too much about it, I contacted her and spent the rest of the morning driving her around. At one appointment she came downstairs, came to my truck, handed me $20 and told me she needed more condoms. I was taken back but decided what the hell, so I went to the local pharmacy. This was now almost 6 a.m. and bought 2 boxes of condoms for her. Went back, handed them off, then proceeded to wait for 2 more hours. She eventually came out. I drove her back home, where she paid me $150. I felt so wrong taking the money, knowing she was getting railed for her money, then had to pay me. I took the money anyways and she was pleased. I was a pleasant young man driver. One of the weirdest odd occurrences for me by far. Found the first Uber driver. Not me, but a friend of mine accepted £300 for sex. Despite being into degrading sex, hence accepting this. She really had no need for the money. She was so unaroused by the guy that they couldn't get his dick inside her. Dry like the Sahara. So she wanked him off. No one came out of that experience well.